Time to check in with our lizard overlords. What are they up to? Well, this.
Is this the worst hour now?
Are we done our first hour?
Yeah, we're into our worst hour now.
Keep your expectations of this episode low. Starting the worst hour now, I feel like we've crossed into maybe not great content hour.
Welcome to our worst hour.
Didn't your new truck get pulled over yesterday?
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
It's like Christy, the guy pulls her over and says, have you had a level 1 inspection? Christy says, I don't know. What does that mean? Like, oh, you got to get a level 1. But I think it's because the truck has an old style sticker on it. Because we bought it in July last year, so they still had the old stickers for June or whenever we got it. So I think that's why he wanted to do a level 1. He was really nice to her. And I think honestly, he was just closing out his day. And he probably needed one more truck to get his quota.
Wait.
So he saw ours roll by and was like, oh, there's a person that speaks English in a brand new truck that I don't have to fight with for the next hour and maybe take the truck off the road and deal with some guy who's arguing about whether his tires are bald in a foreign language. Like, the guy probably just looked at her and was like, this will probably be a nice encounter at the end of the day, and I'll meet my quota. And she had she had a really nice encounter with the guy. And
The
she
level
made
one.
that's where they get the creeper out and they inspect everything.
What's a creeper?
It's like the thing they roll around on the ground under the truck.
Oh,
You lay
why
on
does
it
why does the hood have to be open?
because
What-
they have to check every fluid. Like, if your windshield washer fluid's low, they can write you a fine, right?
Can they? I
Yeah,
don't.
we're
I've
gonna-
never pulled over to that extent.
Yeah, they can. I mean, on the other side of it too, perhaps when he pulled us up the last time we got pulled into the weigh station, our CVOR was out of date. So maybe he wanted to check into that, which is fair enough. But the good thing is, the more you get pulled, like, they run a percentage. Was looking at someone else's totally fucked up CVOR. And basically every time you get pulled over and you get ticketed or there's a problem, you fail the inspection for some reason, they take a percentage off, right? So if you get pulled over 10 times in a year and you fail 4 inspections, you're at 40% fail rate. And if you're at a 40% fail rate, they start coming to your yard and like searching your books and all kinds of shit. So for us, because we've had, I think we've had 30 inspections or something like that. So we have 1 fail. So our rate had gone down. So the more we can build up that are successful, that's actually good for us to get inspected.
I heard if you're the only person who drives that truck, they'll make a note of it, right? Like, it's if you're the only operator of that Kenworth T990, what is it? 880, 990?
W990.
W990. If you're the only person who will drive that truck, they'll make a note in their file. They'll be like, okay, this person seems good.
But yeah, I think probably they do that. Yeah.
Anyway, there's a guy in town who's an MTO officer who's friends with some of my workers and stuff, and that's what he said. So,
I think the guy was just looking for. Christy was also nice because where they pull into the station there, that's where everyone stops to piss on the side of the 412. So she tried to park the truck out of the piss stains for him, so that he didn't have to roll around in day old piss
the piss.
to inspect the truck. So, and he noticed. He said, "Thanks for not parking in the piss." She said, "I tried. I didn't want you to have to roll around in the piss." So, whatever. Yeah, it was. I mean, you could debate whether or not it's a good use of his time, but I'm not here to judge how it was an OPP, like a commissioned OPP officer. So, our last experience with MTO was like insanely negative. So, it was nice to be pulled over by someone that was a good person and just, and I mean, the truck's never been inspected by MTO before. So, because we had that whole rigmarole last year too, where Christy got this fucking speeding ticket, and then the truck was registered wrong, And then it was like she got pulled over. Like the truck had like 5,000 kilometers on it. She got pulled over 3 times in 24 hours, and the truck was registered wrong by the dealership or whatever. And I don't know how that affected our CVOR. That could have fucked around with our CVOR too, because anytime you interact with them at all,
Hmm.
it messes with your CVOR. Whatever. I mean, if you're going to run trucks in Ontario, you better expect to get pulled over. Especially
Yeah.
if you're going to run up and down the 412 in Durham, you're going to get fucking pulled over. I don't drive on the 412. It's like just a hot spot of MTO, man. I avoid it like the plague, the 412.
Every city has their spots, right? You know, where they like to camp out.
Yeah.
Just sit there. One happens to be across the road from the fucking brickyard. So,
Hey, a guy sent me a fill dump this week, and he gave me a good price to go there. Like, why is this guy giving me such a good price to go to this fill dump? Then I realized you got to go through the Thixon Road scales to get there, and you got to come back through the Bowmanville scales to leave. Like that's why no one wants to go to this fucking fill dump, and that's why the prices are getting low because there's no way around it. You got to go both. You're going there and coming back. You're getting fucking pulled in, which I don't like. I don't want shit to be wrong with our trucks. There's something wrong with like last year when they found the broken spring, we fixed it immediately.
yeah, of course. Like you're not out there to cause trouble
So
or be unsafe.
are you charging an extra for removing the stone? Like switching the
Removing.
pallets out? Like obviously,
No, no, of course not. Of course not. There's no more fucking money to be had.
but the stone being
Should
one
we
thing,
be? Yeah, but we, it's a long story. My partner and I have opposing views on extras.
What are,
We,
what
how?
are the opposing views?
What side of it are you on?
Yeah.
well, I want to charge for everything.
Perfect.
He wants to charge for nothing. And
What's the
it
goal with
comes
that?
back in karma and good relationships and stuff. And I say, well, does it? Because they used someone else's price on this one. Where was your good karma coming back to you there?
Well, maybe the good karma is what got you the ability to get last price, right?
Well, if we still lost some of them though. If we're doing all this shit for free, I want the sweetheart deal. And don't tell me
Yeah.
it doesn't happen because it fucking happens all the time.
I think there's a limit to we say like we did a job where I don't know how long it took for you to move the stone in and out of the house, in and out of the building. So like we did a job this spring where we had to dig all the gravel out to lower the grade. And we were part of our contract was to dig it out and dump it in the parking lot next door. And then we spread it with the skid steer for free. And it was like 4 loads of gravel. We just spread it around the parking lot for them
Yeah.
because we're already there. That it took like an hour and a half. That didn't bother me. It would depend, I guess, on the length of time and what it is. If I'm buying material, you're getting charged.
Yeah, there's no cost of material here. It was a skid steer, two guys, let's say 3 hours. So we're talking maybe $500, right?
But
Are
you
we
also have
losing? Go ahead.
is he coming to pick up the stone with his
Yeah.
trucks? Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the extent of it. Are we losing? No, but I don't want to start out the first day working on this job in the hole, right? We're
Agreed.
down. If you had a software, it would tell you that you're down three skid steer hours and six working man hours.
If you had a deep tissue sore brain like mine, you would also be calculating how much you're fucking losing while you're doing that.
Yeah. That's why if
Especially
I have these things, if I have these systems in place, I'm driving myself nuts. So in lieu of driving myself nuts, I'm not thinking about it until the end. We're going pedal to the metal from the beginning to the end, and then we worry about it. If you can't go any faster, if there's nothing left to lose, then you did your best anyway.
So, did you already pay for the pavers?
I don't think so.
How long have the pavers been there?
A winter. They've been in the courtyards the whole
So
winter.
did you supply the pavers, or did the guy with the building yard who's building this building supply the pavers?
They supplied them and delivered them, and
Do
we
you have to
moved.
pay? Do you have to pay them, or are you just getting paid for the moving of the pavers, not the actual material?
Um, so we have a
Because
price
it seems like
buy
a
and
weird
install.
setup.
It is weird, but whatever bill we got from the retailer would have been paid to us, and we would have paid right away the cost of the pavers.
Okay, so the
Right, because the
retailer,
GC would have issued a check for that based on
yeah,
material cost on site.
because you're paying him. The GC owns the building yard, the brickyard.
No, there's a GC in between the client who owns the brickyard.
So the client owns the old age home, and the client owns the brickyard, and the GC's in the middle,
Correct. The GC has to build the building for the client who owns the brickyard.
who also owns the building.
Correct. Well, part owner of the building. There's
So
a
you
group.
bought, so you bought the pavers off the brickyard. They delivered them. Then you invoiced the GC. Then the GC paid you, and then you paid the brickyard. So
My
it's
part
all in around.
somewhere. I didn't touch the money. There's no money in me until services have been rendered. I'm doing this all out of the kindness of my heart until there's enough uh, production that I can invoice for.
So if you're part of the building group, if you're part of the group that's building the building, technically this guy who's part of the group that owns the brickyard is making more money than everybody else because he's supplying all this material.
Or the cost of the materials is cheaper than anywhere else, right?
Fair. That's a fair point. Absolutely.
Because he is getting them at cost and transferring them to his building.
Hmm.
It's an accounting thing, and I'm no accountant.
That is definitely a fair point. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
To be fair, it could have all been concrete. He could have had concrete walkways instead of interlock walkways, concrete courtyards instead of interlock courtyards.
I find it interesting that someone's that passionate that they need to exchange the material on this job.
Sometimes something gets under your skin, you know?
Are the two colors vastly different?
I have no clue. In what lifetime would I switch a con perm for a jokes? Probably never, but
Have you ever even laid a jokes job before?
yeah, yeah,
How many voluntarily jokes jobs have you done?
none.
That's the
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
In my life, I've voluntarily done one jokes job in my whole life. And that was because the people just gave me such a hard fucking time. And I finally was like, fine, we'll buy it.
Uh, apparently they have like this big block wall, like a grande wall,
Yes, they do.
and in the past we were given a price to swap the grande wall for their style wall. It was like $15,000 cheaper. I think it was at Amazon. The wall was $15,000 cheaper. I told them I don't care if it's $15,000 cheaper. I'm still using the grande wall. You can get fucked. I'm not using your shitty wall.
It's actually very similar to the Grande wall.
Yeah, but apparently I've heard there's some grinding you got to do.
Fuck grinding.
You're grinding a lot. And he's like, oh, we'll pay for the cost of the labor to grind it. I don't want to do, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Are you serious? I don't care. I don't want to make the money in hours. I want to be done the job. On to the next one without grinding for days and days. Are you serious? Why don't you just build a proper product?
It's
Yeah.
$15,000 cheaper, and they pay for the grinding.
Yeah.
I
Not
love
worth.
that they know that you had to grind it and they're willing to pay for it.
Yeah, they know it's not a perfect wall. But instead of fixing it, oh, we'll just pay someone else to fix it on site.
Pay for a good amount of grinding.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
some
Every
grinding.
pallet with a cup grinder. Jesus Christ. It's almost as bad as the time they told me to put roofing shingles in the wall.
Oh, that was the company too.
No, no, that was Lock Uni.
Oh, okay.
That Crest River wall.
Do you think? Do you think it's better to tell people to put shingles in the wall or tell people to grind?
Probably better to tell them to grind,
Yeah.
you know. I don't think you can
My
tell some,
my my favorite thing about um, being a sales rep was handing out the letter.
handing out what?
The letter.
The letter? The FLO letter?
The letter.
The letter, I don't.
When you're a sales manager and your staff is having FLO problems, you just say, send them the letter. Like, no one
No.
wants your letter. Send them the letter. Again, no one wants the fucking letter. The letter sucks. Like homeowners don't want the letter. Like no one wants the letter.
The
People
letter's
don't
got me
like.
out of a bind.
Sorry,
The letter got me out of a bind.
really?
Yeah.
Did you ever hear anything about the letter? I know there's letters floating around when I was briefly a rep, but I wasn't around to see the tail end of the letter situation. I wasn't a rep long enough to have a letter come full circle. So what happened? Like when you gave the letter, did it just go away and they forgot about it, or did you have to do something at the end of the letter period?
Did I not tell this story?
No,
It
not to
was
my memory.
a
I'm
guy
interested in it though.
a guy had a new build. We did probably, let's say 30 grand entranceway or whatever. Um, and then he was building a deck in the back, so he wanted pads after the fact. Great. Order more product. Build the landing pads. Leave the job. Over the weekend, we get, this is unacceptable. These pavers are white. I've tried everything. I can't get it off. What are you going to do about it? We're,
Fair.
we're withholding payment until you sort this out. And I was fucking livid, right? Like, you fucking stupid. I didn't say it. You idiot. Like, you chose this stupid fucking product. I never asked you to pick this shit. Like, I had no hand in any of this, right? And now you're withholding my money because there's efflorescence. Freaked out.
Did you know the product would have a fluorescence and installed it anyways, even though they picked it?
No,
Okay, well, fair
it
enough.
was no different than the first batch that we installed.
You're just saying you picked it. And I'm like, did
He
this
picked it.
person be like, you must use this product, or did you say pick a product and I'll install it?
No, no. If it were up to me, it would have been all Techo.
Okay.
Which I don't
All
know
right.
if it's any better, but I haven't had, knock on wood, efflow problems like that. This
Okay.
is the
So
only
fair, fair enough. You absolutely did not want to install this product.
I did not want to install this
Did
product.
you advise did you advise them that the product was not something you would want to install?
I said I'd prefer to work with Techo. The guy built his own house, right? So how much input are you going to have on
Yeah, yeah.
the materials that he's using, right? Like
Fair enough.
you,
Yep.
and sometimes knowing now after 14 years, maybe this is the type of job you don't take, but after 7 years,
Yes.
you're horny and hungry and you want every single job you can get. And it wasn't a bad job, but the product I didn't like. So pissed off all weekend, call my uh, retailer, what's going on here? And they sent me a copy of the letter. Listen, Mario, here's your copy of the letter that they gave me. Um, I'll expect payment by the end of the week or something. Sends me a check after like 3 weeks or whatever. Month goes by. Another email. Hey Chad, uh, we're installing a pool. I'd like to talk about the landscape around the pool. My email back says, Hey Mario, we're not interested in working for people who hold money above our heads over issues that were out of our control from the start. Good luck. Fuck you. Haven't heard from him since. That's it.
Fuck you,
But the letter
Mario.
got me paid, and I knew enough not to work for the guy in the future.
Well, burn me once, your fault. Burn me twice, my fault.
Yeah. Almost got burned one time. The letter saved me.
The letter.
The
It's good to
letter.
hear. It's good to hear that the letter worked for someone.
Hmm.
The letter.
Yeah.
I remember people would call me and say, I can't get paid. I'd be like, I've got a letter. Like, who cares? Fuck you and your letter. Fuck you and the letter you wrote in on, bitch. I'd be like, yeah, I've been you. I've said the same thing. But the fact of the reality is, I've got this letter, and it's the only thing we got in our gun right now. So you can take the letter and shoot your shot, or you can just keep getting not paid. I don't know what else to tell you. Those are the fucking options. There ain't no other options, baby.
Hmm. And
That's the
you
hard.
don't know if they got paid?
I I was gone before any of these letters came to fruition. I think most people get paid with the letter because the letter, seems like it's going to take the company's going to take responsibility. Um, and there's some kind of responsibility.
I thought the letter
So
was the company taking no responsibility. It just happens. F the
no,
rest.
the letter says after. So I don't know what letter you got, but there's something in the letter.
I might be able to pull it up.
Oh, there you go. Pull it up. There's something in the. I love that you have enough software that 7 years ago you gave someone a letter and you fucking have it.
It's Yahoo Mail. That's my software.
You have a letter. You have an email from 7 years ago in your Yahoo Mail.
Probably. Actually,
That-
I'm just gonna put in the guy's name, Mario.
yeah.
Mario. What year was this? Super Mario. Where the fuck are you? Forget his last name.
Any Marios have you worked for?
Probably this is the only one.
Have you worked for a lot of jocks?
Jacques? No, one or two.
What about
Mario
Gar?
Perriard.
What about Garth? Worked for a lot of Garths in your day.
Double Garth?
Double Garth situation. I got a
Which
double Garth situation on my hands.
not happy with new deck.
New deck.
I have the whole email chain.
Wow.
This is
Not,
in,
but you didn't build the deck.
That was
well,
You
he's
that,
French, right? So
that
new
was
deck.
the subject that came through. Subject
Effluent
line.
letter from Permacon. Yeah, I have the letter.
What does the letter say?
Uh,
Do you want to be
where-
able to share your screen?
um, yeah, I can if you want. How do
Or
I
do you
make?
want to just say the letter?
I
Maybe it's
can.
not good to show the letter.
So this letter would have been probably the letter that because it was about 6 or 7 years ago, right, Chad?
No, it's only 4 years ago.
Ooh, this is post me. So you were 10 years in when you worked for this guy, not seven. Makes it
Yeah.
seem worse. Honestly,
Well,
Chad.
I was hungry 10 years ago or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was. You want to hear the thing? The
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
reference number and everything. It has
Let's
his
just
address.
no, we don't need that. We just need you to read the letter.
To follow up with our discussion on August 23rd, 2021, we would like to inform you that we have analyzed the situation.
Analyzed.
We have concluded that there is efflorescence on the products in question. Efflorescence is a natural phenomenon that can be found in all concrete products. This phenomenon tends to diminish with time. See Annex document from additional explanations. Once again, the structural integrity of the product is in no way affected. Consequently, we suggest you wait at least one, and then one in brackets, year after installation of the product to proceed to a cleaning. After 1 year, if there is still no improvement, please contact us so we can revisit your home and assess the situation. Finally, we'd like to remind you that the confirmed products are guaranteed. You'll find the terms of the guarantee on our website, and then it has our rep's name. Please keep this letter in order to uh,
There's letters with my name
applies
on
with
them.
your reference number. But that's it.
There's letters with my names floating around with them.
Oh yeah,
They're somewhere in circulation.
Haver.
People are waving these fucking letters.
Mr. Paver King.
I remember going to a house, and I don't know if it was it could have been a different problem. I think it was more of a coloration problem, a blend problem. Because it like the things were they're named ranges, right? Not colors.
Yeah,
Range. And I remember like trying to help a contractor get paid, like ringing the doorbell, and the fucking people in the house wouldn't even talk to the contractor anymore because they'd been fighting and arguing over payment. And I remember like ringing the bell and being like, and the whole time I was there, I was like, this dude is never buying stuff from me again. But I got to help him try and get paid, you know? Like, what do you do, right? You know that he's probably going to be bitter no matter what you do. Yeah, there's no way to help. Yeah. And that I think wasn't even that was more of just a like the guy didn't like there's a blend and they're like, well, I want it all to be light and no dark. And I'm like, that's not achievable.
Mm.
Throw away all the dark pieces, only keep the light. Again, not part of the gig, not
a
achievable.
lady has asked me to do that before. Throw away all the dark red pieces in the burnt red paper.
We used to get that in the supplier yard. Uh, Different people picking through the pallets to get the right color blends and stuff, especially burnt red.
Yeah, burnt red, burnt
We
fucking.
didn't we had an interest we had an interesting scenario and we were returning. I always overbuy material. So the patio we're doing right now is Blue 60 HD 2 nickel gray. It's actually beautiful. I didn't really like it at the retailer, but when it's laid, I think the patio looks fantastic. It's beautiful color. It's really nice. And
See, that's the efflorescence color that the other client asked me to get rid of.
it's basically the same
Gray
color.
nickel. You see, it is nice, but it's 5 years ago you were complaining that the patio's too white, and now you got a white gray nickel patio, and
I
it's
know.
okay. Now
It's
it's the
great.
style, you know?
People fucking love it.
Yeah.
Um, so we're standing up front and we had laid that, there was 8 bundles came there. Um, and they had laid most of it, but in the laying of the 8 bundles, there was about 3 layers of pieces with that just weren't up to par, right? So we were standing there, and Matt says, "We can probably rebuild a few layers out of this and return it." And I say, "Yeah, you got to make sure there's plastic in between the layers. Like they won't take it back unless there's plastic." And then he turned to me and said, I've been one of the people who gets back these layers at the retailer." I said, "You're right. So have I." I said, "Fuck it. Throw it in the dump trailer and we'll dump it." So we threw away the 3 layers. of questionable product to just get them off the market for everybody else. So it's like this is gonna fuck up someone's
Doing the
day.
Lord's work.
It's I guess, but it's gonna fuck up someone's day, right? Like someone's day is gonna get totally fucked because of that. They're gonna go pick up 3 layers. They're gonna get the 3 layers that we returned that were fucking shit, and we knew it. Which doesn't even. If I have 8 skids and I have 3 or less layers of pieces that I have deemed unacceptable, or the installers have deemed unacceptable, which you could argue were probably actually some of them were acceptable. We just deemed them to be unacceptable because I would rather just not fuck around with small chips or a slight discolor. I'd rather just chuck like so all in on 3 layers. I'm out like maybe $150 that was built into the job too, because this is not excess material that we went and bought later, or this is like, why should I fuck the next person for $150?
Why could you not just bring it back? Like, if you were going to bring it back to the retailer anyway, why could you not bring it back and say, these 3 layers are defective, credit me, and then send it back to the manufacturer? It doesn't have
Like,
to go back in the yard if you were bringing it back anyway, which was your original intention.
so potentially your idea is right and better than mine of just throwing it away, and
I throw a lot of stuff away. I'm not,
that's why you're gonna run the industry and I'm not.
well, I have a job that we're doing this spring where I've got
Well,
14
you said
Roca
that.
steps.
I have a job that we're going to do this spring.
It's got 14 Roca steps. And I'm like, oh, I better get on ordering those steps. I took a walk through the boneyard. There's 14 steps perfectly wrapped in
Wow.
the boneyard.
Wow.
I'm like, this is awesome. I just saved myself $1,400 on this job.
Yeah,
So,
that's how the money's made, bitches.
yeah.
I lost $1,400 in some other job where I bought them and didn't use them.
Yeah, probably. But it
Why
all,
would you buy 14 steps and not use them?
I think it happened on this job where we had to clad over top of, we were putting big Roca steps over top of a concrete set of steps, but the client had ordered 4 foot steps and we needed 5 foot steps to cantilever and do a return on the wall. And I'm like, I have to order 5 footers for this. This material is a year old now. I can't take it back. Um, I will buy it from you at half the cost or whatever, just so that you're not eating shit and I'll use it somewhere else. And now is the chance to use it somewhere else.
They still look good?
They still look perfectly brand new. They were wrapped up for 2 years. So ready to go, man.
Did you rewrap them on the site after? Like I know at
I
Showcase
never
one
even
year.
unwrapped them.
Oh, I see.
Okay, I know at Showcase one year they taught you how to rewrap skids properly so every night, so you could rewrap them nightly by pulling the sheet over. And I don't know if you remember that, but yeah, that was
I didn't go to that. I haven't been to a
it
showcase.
was a good one. You know, learning how to rewrap that plastic wrap. That was a good one. Interlock Ian was in his glory there, pulling the cover
Like
sheet
putting an old
over. And,
diaper on your baby.
yeah, 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 pulling the
Put the
cover
shitty
sheet
diaper
over.
back on the baby at the end of the
So you
ah.
did you just did you just decide the color, or they actually the color that the people picked too?
No, Roca steps, you get what, 2 color choices?
I have no idea. Could be two. Absolutely.
I think Rock Garden Brown and Riviera Gray.
I know there's rock garden brown. Yeah. I'm out of touch with so much of that stuff.
I wish I could be, but I'm still 1 foot in this whole landscape, residential landscape thing.
We're still doing it. I'm just out of touch with it. We're
Can't do
absolutely
it.
doing it. We're absolutely if Nancy Green has leads, then we're doing the jobs. So I'm not we actually have so much work and then none of it is like just none of it is bouncing off. I'm like, can we open something? Like, can we get something going here? Like we have this one job going. But and then the other job, the homeowner has to build a shed, but then the homeowner has to build a shed, but then the shed is on where the sod's going, but the homeowner won't drill into the shed pad for well, he said the internet said 90 days to drill into the concrete of the shed pad. And I'm like, okay, well, we can't sod the lot because the shed is where the sod's going, but because the shed's all in like skids or whatever, right? Then he says he's going to do it in 30 days. So the job's kind of like at a standstill because, oh, and then Nancy has these fucking sweet gum trees going in, which I've never even fucking heard of, but they're wrapped in tarps at the nursery and they have to climatize to our temperatures because they come from the US. And I'm like, why are we buying trees that have to climatize? I feel like the chance of a climatizing tree living is very slim.
Yeah. But that's pretty normal for them. They get a lot of the shit out of the States. More common than I would think.
Well, I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying, can we just pick something that doesn't need to
Yeah.
climatize?
Wasn't that Nancy's job?
Yeah, but she doesn't pick shit like that. She picks weird stuff that I've never heard of, like sweet gums.
Landscape
I don't
architect.
even know what a sweet gum looks like. Like
Sweet.
if someone said to me, go pick out a sweet gum out of the nursery or shoot yourself in the head, I would just have to shoot myself in the head. I don't even know what a fucking sweet
Well, you
gum
could look
looks
at
like.
the tag. The tag would tell you.
Okay, but I'm saying if someone said to you, go into the field with no tags and find a couple sweet gums, which would be like, or shoot yourself in the head, I wouldn't even bother going out into the field.
They look like a waxy leaf maple.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does
Like
it
an
look
autumn
as
blaze, but
sorry?
with waxy leaves.
I just opened up my browser to look and it's full of fucking yaks. Fucking yak. Sweet. So we're waiting for the sweet gums. Nancy says the sweet gums grow very vertical, and that's why they're great for this space.
You can get different types of columnar trees,
His
can't you?
sweet gum does look like a maple. Couldn't we have just gotten a fucking maple?
Can you get a columnar maple?
I don't know.
I bet
I
you
don't.
can.
All I know about planting is that it
Oh my
sucks
God.
and it's going to
Just
go over budget.
just get her to get columnar maple. They look the exact same, Mike.
The problem is that when you're artistically selling people these things, they are native to Southeast and East Asia and Eastern Mediterranean and North America. The fuck? Need trees from Asia?
You're going to be replacing these things next year.
I think we're gonna be. I as soon as she said they were covered in tarps climatizing, I'm like, oh god, we might as well buy four.
Yeah.
Like, like
Yeah.
they're gonna die.
Leave two at the nursery to climatize another year.
Another year. I'll pay for these two because I know I'm gonna need them next spring.
Yeah.
Like this is death warmed over.
Yeah.
Although one time I remember Nancy picked this insanely weird tree. I don't remember what kind. It was super weird. And the tree, it was huge. It was for some front yard, and the tree was like 3 grand or
Wow.
2 grand. I don't know. It was a stupid tree. And we planted it. And within 3 weeks of us, we planted it. I mean, it was probably not a great time of year. I think we planted it like July or August. It was at a homeowner's house where they're watering it, and they loved it. They're watering it religiously. And within 3 weeks, all the leaves fell off.
I laugh
And
in August,
I remember being
regardless
pissed.
of how much you water.
I was pissed at Nancy. Why did you pick this stupid fucking tree? Now we got to replace it. And she said, it will be fine next spring. You don't know what you're talking about. And I said, it's fucking dead. There's no leaves on it. And it's August 10th. We are fucked. We are so fucked on this stupid ass tree that you bought. Why the fuck did we buy this dumbass tree? And in the spring, the tree was fine and
You
it
just
lived.
shocked it.
And it's still flourishing to this day, maybe. Although
Maybe.
I don't haven't been back to that house. So there was a stripper video shot in that house like 10 or 12 years ago outside in the backyard from a Magic Mike video that we made at Ridge Lake. And that was before deep muscle tissue soreness. there's a lot of dancing in that video. So it was
Is Nancy dancing in the video?
No, I think
Oh.
Nancy is in the video though. Maybe she might be in the video. That whole job was made out of that wall that you liked. You put shingles in.
Oh, what's that? What did I call that one?
Crest River.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Crester.
Crest River. That was all that stuff. I gotta went to see. So we have this client, this good client, and they we're building some asphalt ramps for them, and some temporary asphalt ramps. And I get there, and I go to the meeting, and I say to the guy, "Hey man, those footings we did last December are looking good." And he turns and says, "Yeah, we should probably pay you for those." Probably, man.
Wow.
That would be fucking great, bro. He says, "Yeah, it's just, I said, dude, the problem is that this is a big ship, and getting it to turn any way or getting something done just takes forever because it's such a big place. I know we'll get paid. It's not a debate about whether or not we'll get paid. It's just a debate about when. Like before we build these asphalt ramps, you can pay us for the work we did in December. I, that would be fantastic. Like
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. Oh, anyways, I'm riled up today. It was a long day.
You guys want a quote to rank from 1 to 5 here?
Sure.
Maybe end things
Absolutely.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a quote that I heard on a podcast recently. In the short term, your results are determined by your intensity. In the long term, your results are determined by your consistency. But don't trade the latter for the former. So
Don't
don't
trade
trade,
consistency for intensity.
no, don't trade intensity for consistency.
Mm,
So you can't put kick three.
Can't pick three. 1 to 5
I think it's a four. I think it's true. Intensity is what gets you places.
in the
It's what
short term.
opens it. I think even in the long term. If you're intense, you can open a lot of doors in a short period of time that keep you busy for a long period of time. That's my opinion. I could be
Intensity.
wrong. I'm
So
also a very intense person, though.
you can overpromise with intensity.
You can 10x yourself to death with
Yeah.
intensity.
You think intensity and stupidity are related?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Fuck.
you can make mistakes or overlook things with intensity.
Hmm, I don't.
Maybe you could be ignorant with intensity. Going off of last week, Chad, whether he's lazy or ignorant.
No, I don't view intensity the same way that you guys do. So
There's
I don't
some
think
young landscapers in town who are very intense, right? The same way I was doing, cramming 10 pounds of shit in a 5 pound bag with their landscapes, right?
but I'm
Time will tell if they're,
so not today, but yesterday we had, and this is, mind you, this is April when a lot of people aren't working, right? We had a bin truck running. We had a crew working on a residential job. We had another crew working on a commercial job. I had a triaxle floating equipment, and I had two triaxles on a pool dig. And to me, that was a slow day. And I wondered what we were doing, and I felt useless because in my intensity, I need more than that. I need more than that going on. Now, I don't think any of it was stupid or ill planned or unprofitable or whatever else you guys said that was negative about intensity.
I don't think that's intensity. I think that's chaotic.
But I don't even think it's
Not
chaotic. Like
intense.
that's my life, right? That intense, that level of intensity, that level of stuff going on, that's my whole life. That's how my life operates at every single day, all day, 24/7.
I think if you were doing everything, so you didn't have anybody to run the trucks and everything, I think that would be intensity.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's lots of people that couldn't do that in a day because they'd say it was too intense for them. Even if they're just organizing it and planning it and dealing with all the phone calls. There's a lot of people who would say, I can't do that much in one day. Well, there's obviously a lot of people that can't do it because not everyone's doing it. Like
I just
I just don't think intensity is a bad thing. You guys are welcome to think it is.
I
That's
don't think it's a bad
100%
thing. I think it's good to get short-term results, but it's better to be consistent than intense.
what if you can consistently be intense for like the last 30 years?
I think that's a
I'm
hard
I
fact
am
waiting to happen.
I totally don't disagree with you. I'm a consistently intense person. Very rarely could you call me at any time in the day. Even I called you today, Chad,
Yeah.
to tell you about the SVL because I didn't have time to text back what the fuck we were talking about. So I called you. I talked to you for 4 minutes. I said, I gotta go. Got other
Yeah.
stuff to do, but I needed to tell you this.
Yeah.
That I don't have time to text it. That was an intense conversation.
That was I don't know if intense is the word, but yeah.
Well, it was
You're
informative. It
very
was
liberal
fast.
with the way you use intense.
I don't know. I I guess I don't maybe I have a bad definition of intense.
Or maybe you have the right definition.
To me it's like unrelenting.
Those are to me, those are two different things. Intense and unrelenting.
I think intense is above your threshold. So if you are
Red line.
consistently intense, then you are below your threshold. If you can withstand that for a long period of time. I think intense might be everybody has their own sort of threshold, but it's not sustainable, would be my definition.
I like that.
We'll see.
Unsustainability.
How long does someone have to be doing something for it to be unsustainable? Like if you've been doing it, say, 33 years.
I
On
think
the
once you have your
34
heart attack because
on
of
the
it.
well, on the 34th year when you fall off, where you're like, that guy's intensity was unsustainable. I'm just want like when is it like I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I'm saying you're saying it's unsustainable, and I'm saying, well, I've been doing it almost nonstop for 30 years.
I think the line is everybody has a line and nobody really knows how close they're getting to the line until they fall off.
But that doesn't so you're saying I know, but you're saying it's unsustainable. And I'm like, well, how long does someone have to sustain it for you to admit that it was sustainable for that person?
Well, they have to fall off. They have something has to happen for them to realize that was not sustainable. Otherwise, they would have stopped beforehand. Hunter S.
Okay.
Thompson has a really good quote on this. I'm trying to find it.
I'm just saying, like, if someone's been doing it for 30 years, I would say it's sustainable for them.
So then it's within their threshold.
But you're saying on the
So then it's
31st
not
year,
intense.
well, I think you can be super intense and be sustainable.
Hmm.
I'm saying at what point, like, how long does someone have to do it for, like, and not that I'm a big person on self pride, but you could argue that in the last 6 years, I've built a bigger business than other people would in 30.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I believe that was built because of intensity. So I've been doing it 6 years. So just as an example, for this business by itself, I've been doing it for 6 years. So if I've been doing it for 6 years sustainably and intensely, at what point do you say, okay, well, that guy's intense and it's sustainable for him? Maybe not for the average person. I'm not, you guys could be right too. Maybe the day that I have a heart attack and die, you'll be like, you can come on here, the two of you, and gloat about how we told you he'd fall off, that son of a bitch. We were right. He was wrong. It wasn't sustainable. He only did it for 9 years. Couldn't make it to 10. Fucking loser. Like, I have friends that I talk to all the time that are insanely intense all the time. Every time you talk to them, they are wound up and intense. And they've been doing it for 20 years.
That's Bernie. Bernie's intense.
Bernie
Oh,
Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
That guy's only intense if you're trying to prove that he didn't take tons of medical funding, whatever fucking funding from Red Dye 40. The number one taker of funding from Red Dye 40. I don't know. Maybe it isn't sustained. Maybe that's my problem. That's why I won't outrun the industry because I'm too intense and I'll burn out.
Going
Hmm.
off what I was saying there about threshold in the line, Hunter S. Thompson says the edge. There's no honest way to explain it because the only people who really know where it is are the ones who have gone over it. I always like that.
Hmm.
Hmm, fair enough. Go jump off the house and tell you how it was. I'll try to land in the pool if I can. Are you putting a pool in at your house this year, Chad?
Well, we bought a cottage, so
Oh,
I think I
yeah.
can push that another year, maybe.
Can you swim in the river?
Yeah, it's a nice river. Nice riverfront, sandy
Too much,
bottom.
too much, not a lot of current.
Nope, not a lot
Nice.
of current. It's probably colder than the pool.
Yeah, it's the cottage. That's what it's supposed to be.
Cold river.
I love that your cottage is 20 minutes from your house. Best thing ever.
I think everybody should strive to have a cottage
20 minutes from
closer
their
to their
house.
home than far away.
It's nice. Let's go to the cottage for a barbecue.
Yeah,
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
yeah.
I don't want to stay here tonight. Let's go
Think
home.
of how many people you can invite over to the cottage for a night and they don't have to stay. You don't
If
have
you,
to house
yeah,
be a house provider or whatever for them. They can go home at night. They
that's
could
true.
cab home if they wanted to from the cottage.
Uber. Do you guys
Yeah,
have Uber
we
in
don't have
Cornwall?
Uber. No,
You don't have Uber.
no,
Huh,
we don't have
interesting.
soil testing either. So I'll forego the Uber if we can
Oh
get
my
rid of
God.
soil testing.
Did we talk about the last week? Was I dealing with the cyberbullying at the Phil dump?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. We talked about that enough. That job went off without a hitch. No one that worked for us cyberbullied anyone else in the dump site. So that was great. I was worried about it. The dump site was an unsafe piece of garbage, which I find interesting because the dump site is run by woke millennials. So they're crazily worried about dump site cyberbullying, but not worried about huge rocks getting wedged in tires and flying out into windshields and trucks almost tipping over and people crashing into each other. They don't care about any of that fucking shit. We got to maintain a safe space at the fill dump. And the safe space by the fill dump is over near the bathrooms. So,
The transgender bathrooms.
well, they're porta potties, so I don't. They're not genderized. I don't think they might be.
We've had this discussion before. I told you about the women's toilet porta potty on the job site and how it has a lock on it, so only women can use it.
Mm.
But
Yes, I don't. I didn't go to the fill site. I just heard the reports from the fill site.
hmm.
So, all right, I'm going to bed. Are you guys good?
Yeah. Chad, what did you
Good.
give that quote? I don't think you gave a rating. PK says 4. I'm going to say 5.
It's so long. It's just long. I don't,
That's
I
true.
I can't sit through a landscaper seminar. I I have less and less patience for anything that's long-winded. I give it a 2. It
Oh,
wasn't
Fair,
bad, but
fair. I think that's a really fair point. I love that because I thought it was long too. I was like, when are we getting to the end of this? When do we rate it?
if
There's
I
about
forget the
there's
beginning of it by the time you get to the end, can't be that good.
there was 3 times Mike stopped and I'm like, I'm ready to rate it, and then he started again. It's not over. So, all right, that's the end of the podcast.
Thank you for watching. Ooh. Yeah, those people run the world. They're so impressive. What a bunch of freaks.